Welcome to my Thief Simulator video of House 202 on Richie R Street. I had no idea that the only way you could really get into this place was by way of jumping on top of the van. I had always seen the vines on the wall here, but tried jumping up to them. I had no idea how to do that. I didn't know you could jump on your vehicle. Found that out online. And so we're giving it a try. I end up going into this house probably 8 times to steal everything, but I'm only going to show about 2 or 3 attempts. I'd already scoped out some of the security cameras because you can see a number of them from outside the walls. Those are 2 more that I had discovered. This probably isn't my very first time over the wall, just because I knew precisely where those 2 were already. I always play very carefully because I want to get an S exclamation point score at the end. I'm speeding the video up here a little bit because I linger for a very long time just observing their pattern. So now it's regular speed again. Actually, that's 1 more camera there. Good, because that's an important one, because you can get caught if you stand behind this hedge here. Right there, it would see you in that corner, so I always stand back. Just not sure of their walking pattern, so I was a little worried. Didn't go quite yet. Sometimes I get stuck on these stairs. There was a small pause there, but sometimes on some of my entries I would get completely stuck and just have to back up and almost jump up to get onto the stairs. It worked out okay. The guys that are patrolling never really heard me, so it was okay. We're about to see a stack of money that I can't grab. But you can grab it if you position yourself, close it, and get ready to go, then you can grab it. That sometimes happens. Some items in drawers get a little bit bugged. Doesn't happen all that often though. Now you're going to only see me open the drawers that have anything in them, because yes, I had been in here before. I eventually grabbed that gold statue later, but not on this walk through. And we're about to open 3 safes. This safe is like the safes you run into in the first neighborhood or street, where it seems relatively easy to stop holding down the left or right arrow key in time to not get caught and fail rather. But I think there's 2 more safes coming up here in this house that seem to have a much shorter amount of time before you actually fail on the lockpicking of the safe, or the safe cracking. Seems like later in the game they sometimes get more difficult. And you really have to be Johnny on the spot, ready to go to release that left or right arrow key. Apparently, I'm playing this game in Steam, and at this point, there's a bit of disconnect issues, and so we're hearing a lot of did-a-dink, did-a-dink, did-a-dink. So I dropped the volume of these couple of clips so that it wouldn't get too annoying. There's one more thing that I'm going to grab from this dresser at the top of the stairs. It's a repeatable iMac keyboard. It's just something to grab. This guy walks in a triangular pattern, but he doesn't always walk the complete triangle. He tends to go back and forth between that spot there, which is kind of near the front door-ish, near the garage, and then walks back to where the stairs were, and that allows for you to walk by. A couple of panels on the wall, which I will do later. You have to be very careful with these. You gotta get ready to release that keyboard button so quickly. Used my night vision just to double check and make sure nothing else was in there. I don't take this router right now. It's just a router. It's not worth a lot of money. But I do take it on another run. I'm still trying to satisfy the Black Bay requirement for, I think, 4 of those types of lamps. And this large clock I know I can't take. It weighs too much, but I do take it on another run. Not a run that I show. At this point, it's still very early in the day, and I already know the pattern of these tenants, and I really need to wait a lot of time until about 10 p.m. when finally the guy that's inside the house leaves, so it's safer to walk around inside the house. So now I've made it here. It's about 9:58. It's about to become 10 p.m. and he is going to walk outside. Now I can go to these 2 security panels and have all the time I need to get them hacked. Always just disconnecting, of course, if you've done this before and in any of the other houses, just the wires that point to the left out block. If you take any of the other wires, it will trip the alarm. And we'll see myself do one more of those on that exact same panel, again on another run into this house. So I know I'm getting heavy, so there's a lot of things here that I do not take on my initial run. There's one more video game pad that I miss. I could have taken it, but I take it later. Printer in the corner. A speaker in the room. And that's about it. And the top left drawer should have a necklace. And the top middle drawer, a watch. So there is a requirement to break a clock, I believe, on the wall. I don't have my crowbar, so I do that on a later run. There's even a nice little clock there along the wall. On the table, I don't take it on this walkthrough. I get it later. Laptop I take later. That was on that table there. Lenovo that I take later. This room's basically a bunch of hard drives. At least for starters on this run, there's nothing in there. Another printer. And once we get out into the living room, this is a viable escape, I think. I never use it. I always, for some reason, chose to go through the bathroom. But in this room, the living room around the corner to the right, are a number of presents. Don't take any on this time in the house, but I will eventually take all of them. I don't show any video of that. It's just a lot of rinse and repeat going back into this house and just going after what you don't have yet. And so I grab a gift and I go all the way back to the bathroom. For some reason I like going out there. Because you could see when this guy would come up. And you'd know exactly when you could go out the window and it's safe and everyone else is behind you in the house. Or on the other side of the house, actually, just in the property on the other side. Normally you can just make a bee run for it, for the guard gate. This time I didn't. I was being extra careful. So I'm going to cut and splice some of the time here, because when he finally gets down to his furthest left walking position, he stands there for almost a full minute. So I cut and splice that. Now, one thing you need to be careful of is pedestrians walking by outside. There is a gate, a car gate, right there, outside, or right next to you. And so if a pedestrian walks by and sees you hacking, well, they're going to have a problem with that. Or simply seeing you crouching down, in fact. They'll have a problem with that, so just be careful as you pick the lock to that guard gate door. Or hack it. I always say pick, but hack it. So I'm just making my way back to my van and I'm going to turn it around and drive out. Take my initial run of loot. Just getting away from the wall, then allows for me to back up and turn. And you can drive out straight that other direction. It just seems to be a whole lot more of off-road driving. So I like turning around and get right at the exit. What did I get? And I get a very good score. operating points.
Nice.
So here I go, I'm going to give it a try again. I realize I usually back up into these parking spots because it allows for a quick getaway. But I'm realizing that actually I want to drive straight up there anyway, so let's just park straight in. So I make it 5 p.m. At this point, I've really figured out what I need to do, and 5 p.m. is an awful lot of time to have to wait until 10 p.m. for the guy that's inside to finally leave. So on other runs, you really could just, if you just need to beeline it in there and wait for him to leave, you can pretty much just make it 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Just be quick about it. So I always get back in the van, look in my box, and close it, because that forces a save. That way if I ever get caught, my vehicle is already here, and I don't have to drive it all the way back up again from the parking space. So I'm a lot more confident about how to do this. I do a lot more just running and crouching when I need to. By this point, the first run you saw was, I think, my second or third time in only, and so I'd already learned the layout to some degree, but was still being very careful. I'm not picking up anything really again. Yes, I'd already taken this controller, but I'm taking it for a second time, why not? Because I gotta wait for this guy anyway. Just kind of observe his pattern again. But this time in is probably, by now, my 8th or 9th, 10th time jumping the wall. Because as you will see, all the gifts have been taken. The large clock in this upper bedroom has been taken. When we get to the office at the top of the left there, I've already taken the computer screen. Pretty much everything you can from within there. See, the clock's missing. And it's about 7 p.m. and I need to wait for 10, so I think there's a cut and splice here. Oh no, okay, just until 7:30, because I then at least go back in here and just re-grab 2 controllers and a mouse, I guess. No, I don't even bother. I'd already taken everything from here, but I wasn't sure if maybe if they respawn or something. They don't. At least those 2 items don't. So I go back to the room where I wait for 10 p.m. Cut and splice. Hack the 2 panels. And then I go into the garage. Now in the garage are 2 speakers, a printer, I think like a hi-fi receiver, a Genoso or something receiver, another hard drive. I don't know, there may have been other things that I don't remember. But at that point, I only go in to go and get the printer. And there's a lot of large objects to take. In that very first room when you come in and break into the house, after having walked up the cement stairs to the balcony deck, that room has 2 large screen TVs and a antique statue, of which you need 4 total to satisfy the Black Bay requirement. And I do take it, but not on this run, because you can only carry really 1 thing out at a time. I'm sure there's a way to be fancy and swift about it and do two things. But I only end up with the printer this time. I never take radios anymore. There might have been something in those drawers or on top of those drawers on one of the runs, I forget. I think these hard drives are repeatable. I don't bother with all of them. You see all the gifts have been taken. Nothing there. I think there's another phone or pad, whatever it was. Laptop's missing from the table right there. The little clock on that little table to our left right now, that one already taken. So now I grab the printer. This guy's coming back, so I have to wait a little bit. What I eventually found out was if one of the guards or tenants only sees you with a green exclamation point that never turns amber, yellow, orange, or red, any of those shades, then you can still get an S exclamation point score at the end. I did not know that. And so on many runs, if a green exclamation point, see, he just turned around, has stopped, as most guards do, when they get to an end walking point, they tend to always turn and see what's behind them. I restarted many runs because green exclamation points would pop up, and I'd say, oh, I'm not going to get my S exclamation point good score. I really wanted to maximize my experience points. So I ended up doing a lot of runs, more than I needed to, having to restart. Really wasn't until towards the end of Richie R Street and the beginning of Industrial Street that I started not caring if a green exclamation point was ever over their heads. And eventually when I unlocked every single one of the skills, and it was pretty deep into Industrial Street and had completed everything here on Richie R Street, I stopped if they even had amber or red. Because the only purpose I really felt was needed for good experience points was so that you could gain skill points so you could unlock everything in the skill tree. Well, when I had everything unlocked in the skill tree, I no longer cared, and it made the game kind of fun because I could just run in and have them see me and I'd hide from them. So pedestrians were going to see me carrying this printer, so I made sure I just dropped it and stood off to the side. There's no way I was going to be able to get around this wall. This guy has no clue. So I just make it around the corner, run it up to my van, put it in the back. And I think that's the end of the video. That's largely what you can do in 202. Of course, there's all those items I had already taken, but it's basically the same tactic of jumping over the wall here, getting up. At least that's how I get in, is through up this cement staircase to the balcony, I go in that door that you don't even have to pick. It's very handy. You do not have to necessarily exit through the bathroom, but that's what I always choose to do. So that's my video. Hopefully that was helpful for you.